That's the key to everything, right? You have to have the right team in place.
You know what you're getting with the wiring. The roof is brand new. The kitchen is brand new. Everything's brand new.
If you're willing to put in the work, you can find some real value in the resale market. And we're back on the Mobile Home Park Exchange. I'm your host, Frank Rizzo. Here's my partner, Eric Busuttil. We have a show today where we're going to talk about a topic that I know impacts every community owner anytime they go to buy a community, anytime that they're managing a community, operating a community. It's a question that I get asked a lot. What do you do with the older homes that are there, right? So you buy a community, let's say there's 70 lots there, there's 50 homes, 30 of them are park owned. You have infill, you have some older homes, probably somewhere between the 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s. Is it better to renovate the older homes and have that as your inventory of available homes, or do you just rip off the Band-Aid, get rid of the older homes, and bring in new homes to fill your community? It's a question that every community owner has to ask themselves, and it's a topic that we're going to discuss today on the Mobile Home Park Exchange podcast. So I'm going to bring it to you, Eric, right? My partner of 7-8 years now, and all the communities we've done and the infill that we've had to deal with. Your experience, what is better? Is it better to rehab the older homes, or would you rather bring in newer homes?
Looking back at our 18 parks that we've acquired and sold some of them, I would have to say that it makes more sense to rip the Band-Aid off and go straight for bringing in newer homes.
Why? Why do you think that?
For a multitude of reasons. Frank. With the used homes, there are so many restrictions, right? And every county, every market has different restrictions, right? Some of the restrictions can be a county may require a home to be a certain age, right, to go into the county. You can't bring in a home, let's just say, older than 1980. The new town may not allow you to reconnect it to the utilities. Some of these communities require the homes to be a certain size, right, where you may have a property that's grandfathered in at a certain size, but bringing in homes that do not meet that certain size, they wouldn't allow it. So at least when you're buying these new homes, what those sizes are, right? Biggest challenge is getting the homes there. I mean, this is a tough one. Try finding a mover who wants to move 1980s style homes, right? I mean, we've done that a handful of times, and we've done it successfully, but you could potentially have a disaster on your hands. One example, I mean, we had this happen. We were moving a bunch of homes. We had I think we purchased 16 used homes, and one of the homes literally fell apart on the highway, right? And I mean, listen, if
we did get a good deal on the home,
we got a good deal on the home. We made it out of there alive, but that home had to get put down on the side of the highway, sat there for like 5 days, had to get somebody to go out there, re-weld the whole, chassis together. Luckily the mover we had a great relationship with. He had to go back out there, put it back on. But listen, some of these movers, they'll leave the home there. It's your responsibility. And then trying to figure out how to get it off the side of a highway, I mean, that's a whole different ballgame. But I would have to say I prefer to just rip the Band-Aid off, put a plan in place to upgrade the homes, and take it from there.
I could get that point, right, in doing that, but the existing housing stock that comes in gives you I think the advantage, right, depending on the community, right, because not every community might be able to afford a brand new home, right? I bring in a new home to that community. My price point for a rental or a sale has to be between $1,100 to $1,400 a month, right? Because even on the low end, those new homes, they cost money, right? And they've got to be financed. And depending on the community, right, the market where I might have to be for that payment for my resident, the older model homes might be the affordable option that I can provide. And then it's having a system of going in with with the homes that are existing, right? And getting them up to a certain standard that I could create an affordable housing option for the people to come into that community and have a nice place to live in a community that's going to be an outstanding value.
Most of these resale homes that, we've brought in or, that someone brings in needs a good amount of, upgrading, right? It's not just, you're bringing in a used home and you're connecting it and you're selling it. I mean, you're typically redoing the whole home, right? I mean, maybe not always the whole home, but you're doing a fairly good amount of renovations to the homes. And this isn't, a 1 or 2 day job, right? I mean, so it's a long road renovating used homes. And when you do that, I mean, you're basically married to the home, even if you resell it, right? Because, once you put a person in there and, it was a newly renovated home, I mean, you're basically warranting the home yourself. And even though you're selling it, you still have to repair certain stuff for a certain period of time, right? And with that comes a lot, and try finding another big obstacle that you could definitely run into is finding the right people to do work in these homes. I mean, that's
the key to everything, right? You have to have the right team in place, right? You have to have the right team in place. You have to have the right people in place. If you're going into this business and you're not able to build a team of people who are, reliable, dependable, and willing to work with you, then you're going to have challenges regardless if you're bringing in new homes or if you're working on older homes.
You could get a new home into a property, for $42,000 to $48,000, right? And again, from experience, I mean, even the homes that, for the majority of the homes that we brought in, we didn't get in for that much cheaper than that, average. So with that being said, you're bringing a new home, you have a new HVAC system. You know what you're getting with the wiring. The roof is brand new. The kitchen is brand new. Everything's brand new. The manufacturer is warranting it for a certain period of time. It's just a different animal. Yes, you can find value in the used homes, but
But I think if you're buying a park and it already has existing homes in there, right? And if you can grade those homes where, structurally they're sound, but maybe cosmetically they need a little bit of updating, right? You can create off of that existing housing stock inside that community. You could create a value play for the residents to come in and not, be at that, because that's your new home's coming in at 42 to 48,000. Then you have to set it, right? Then you have to connect it. Then you have to skirt it. And then you have to put the deck in. Before you know it, you're in between $55,000 and $60,000. Where if you have the house in play already and it's set, now it might need skirting. It might need the deck might have to be updated. The roof might have to be done again, cool sealed, or maybe you're going to put a tin roof on. This way you're going to have a longer lasting period. To get rid of that home, which might have an intrinsic value, even though it's a little older, you might be getting rid of an affordable option for somebody in that community.
I mean, I'm not saying if the home's there already, yes, and you can save it and do some upgrades to it, and it's already connected. 100%, you're going to want to try to save those homes, right? But when we're talking about bringing homes in, right? When you're talking about bringing homes in, new home, hands down, it's going to save you so much time, right? And in the renovating, so much time in the connections, the permitting, right? When you bring in a used homes, I mean, the amount of inspections that you're probably going to go into in whatever county that you're in, you're going to have to go through plumbing inspections, electrical inspections, safety inspections, and it could just go on and on and on. So when it comes to moving homes in, I think the way to go is the new homes.
But if you had small infill to do, right, and you don't have you have a small amount of infill to do, and you don't have the capacity to say, hey, I'm going to bring in let's call it a $50,000 home and set that, you could potentially find some deals in and around where that community is, whether it's on Facebook Marketplace or whether it's through a tax auction. You might be able to find some real value if you're willing to do, the homework to make sure that the home is structurally sound, to make sure that there's some value in the home that you're purchasing, and moving that home to your park. That could be a more cost effective. It's more labor intensive, right? But you could inevitably end up saving a little bit of money doing it that way.
Every property that you buy, you have to take a look at. You have to look at it as a whole. You have to come up with a game plan. I mean, if you're talking about a small amount of infill, and 90% of the homes, or let's say 75% of the lots are filled with used homes. If you could find some used homes in the surrounding areas, that's one thing. A lot of the projects that we've done, have been, major turnarounds, right? Where we're either, expanding on the property, adding additional lots, or we bought a property where, it's a 50-unit park, but there's only 25 homes in it. I think if that's the case, and you're doing a major infill project of 60% or 50% or more of the lots have to be filled with homes, new homes hands down will get you to the finish line quicker, less work all around, and you could start by bringing in these new homes, and once these newer homes are in, you could either upgrade the homes that are in the park already to, look like the standards of the other homes, or you could start transitioning those homes out as well.
That's a great point, because whatever you do, you still have to raise the standards, right? So even if you have existing inventory, right, whether it be park-owned homes or tenant-owned homes in those communities, you have to raise those standards and make sure that the community can stand it, because no one is going to want to buy a new home if the rest of the community doesn't look like it deserves a new home, right?
And know this, if you are renovating a home and you're totally remodeling a home, when you put a new tenant in there, they're expecting a new home, even though it may be an old home, right? So, if you have an old home that you totally renovated, you put a new tenant in there, just realize, like I said earlier, you're warranting that home for them for a while, right? If they have a new HVAC system there, they're going to call you on it. If there's a used HVAC system there that you did some modifications or some upgrades to, just know 3 months from now they're going to expect you to replace that if it goes. So if you're okay warranting the home, and being there for them, for the first couple years, just to make sure that the home is to their likings, I mean, that's a good way to go. All in all, I say go with the new homes,
but upgrade the community as a whole, right? And I think there's value in both. I don't think there's one specific answer that works for every single case. I think you've got to look at your market and what your market could support, right? I think that's super key. I think you have to look at your community, right? And what the standards are in your community to get to allow for the new home to be in there because you want to bring in that type of resident. But also look at, if you're willing to put in the work, you can find some real value in the resale market. I think you could find some real value there if you're have the right team and you can make sure that work is done, and you could follow the flow of that process. I think you could find some real additional value and basically offer that value to your resident as a more affordable option.
So I think this was a pretty productive conversation. This is something that you're always going to have to look at when you're buying a new community. Thanks a lot, Frank, for your input on the the renovating of homes. Even though I think that I'm 100% in the right here, I just want to make sure everybody enjoyed this today. And thank you guys for watching. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at the Mobile Home Park Exchange.
Link below.
And thank you guys, and thanks for watching.
Happy investing. Talk to you soon.